Hey, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula. I hope you're having a good day and welcome to today's Pokemon Go video. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about Shadow Mewtwo. This Shadow legendary Pokemon has been something of an iconic figure within Pokemon Go for the last couple of years, and there's been a lot of discussions whether or not you should ever purify this Pokemon. Well, now that it is coming in Shadow Raids, I wanted to re-explore this topic and give reasons for why you should or should not purify this Pokemon. Alright, so with that said, let's roll the intro and get right into it. Okay, so for longtime viewers of my channel, you would know that I have been advocating for you to never purify your Shadow Mewtwo for the longest time. Ever since this Pokemon was introduced back in Pokemon Go Fest of, I think it was 2020, this has been one of the most powerful Pokemon that you could have in your collection. Of course, there was a lot of players out there who were making the case for you purifying this legendary Pokemon, and that is because, of course, it gives you a great opportunity at picking up a 100% IV version of it. And I have to tell you, like, having even a 0% IV Shadow Mewtwo is still going to be better than a purified 100% IV of a regular Mewtwo. The reason for that is, of course, because of that 20% shadow damage bonus, which, when it comes to raid battles and gym battles and Team Go Rocket battles, it makes a world of a difference. Of course, the caveat is that Shadow Mewtwo loses a little bit of defense, which, yeah, that means it's going to be hit a lot harder, but in general, the damage boost is just that much more valuable, so I always advise players to keep it a Shadow Pokemon. But now that we have Shadow Mewtwo in raids and it's going to be a lot more abundant, I wonder if it's now okay to purify at least one of your Shadow Pokemon in hopes of getting a 100% IV. That is of course because eventually we are going to get the Mega Evolutions for Mewtwo, and those are going to completely dethrone Shadow Mewtwo, and that is definitely something you need to keep in mind. Now more than ever, it is absolutely imperative that you have at least one 100% IV or close to 100% IV regular Mewtwo. So yeah, now that Shadow Raids are going to feature this Pokemon, maybe it is actually okay to purify at least one of your Shadow Mewtwo. I would say you should only purify it if you are guaranteed to get a hundo. That means if it has an IV set that is at least 13, 13, and 13, then when you purify it, it's going to become a 100%. That is probably the only viable case where you should actually purify that Shadow Mewtwo. And of course, on top of that, I highly suggest you still have a team of about 5 high IV Shadow Mewtwo's in the back, mainly because the amount of damage that this Pokemon deals is just tremendous. Like for myself, I have a 98% Shadow Mewtwo right now, and it took me a very long time to max it out, and I'm really glad I did. It deals an insane amount of damage regardless if it has a type advantage, and I've been using it in almost every aspect of Pokemon Go. So yeah, that particular one I plan to never purify, but if I end up getting another Shadow Mewtwo from Shadow Raids that has IVs that are at least 13, 13, and 13, then yeah, I will consider actually purifying it in order to get myself my first 100% IV Mewtwo. That particular Mewtwo is one that I'm going to use for Mega Evolutions, because once Mewtwo receives its Mega Evolutions, you will be doing a lot more damage than your one Shadow Mewtwo. Something else to consider at this point is of course the fact that Shadow Mewtwo is one of the most powerful Pokemon right now before the Mega Evolution comes out. It is probably the absolute best generalist in the game, which means you're going to be able to use it in pretty much every single situation. Even in the Go Battle League, there are instances where Shadow Mewtwo could actually be very good. So because of that, I highly suggest you keep at least one Shadow Mewtwo that has really good IVs. If you happen to have a couple of junk ones, even keep those, because unless you're going to make it a 100% IV, I really do not think there's any benefit to spending the Stardust and Candy to purifying that Pokemon. Like I've said in countless videos in the past, having a purified Mewtwo that is 100% IV is still going to be significantly weaker than a 0% IV Shadow Mewtwo. But if you have a ton to spare and you have one that could potentially become a 100% IV, then you should actually purify that one. I know I repeated myself quite a lot in this video, but it's as simple as that. Like, everything that I said in this video, I feel like that's the direction that you should go. Of course, we only have 2 days of Shadow Mewtwo raids during this period, and I really think it will make a return in the future. I just don't think it's going to be anytime soon. So definitely take full advantage of this weekend. Make sure you're raiding as many Mewtwo's as you can. Don't forget that you could also potentially pick up its shiny form. So if you've always wanted a Shadow Mewtwo, this will be your absolute best opportunity at getting it. When you purify a Shadow Pokemon, you're adding 2 IVs to every single one of its stats lines. So yeah, that's something you need to consider if you end up getting a shiny Shadow Mewtwo that is at least 13, 13, 13. Congratulations, you actually have yourself there a Shundo. But yeah, in any case, that's going to be it for this video. I just wanted to kind of bring this to the attention of the Pokemon GO community. I know there's going to be a lot of people in the comment section that's going to have various opinions, so definitely share them down below so we can have a great discussion. And if you ended up enjoying this video and found it to be useful, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, big or small, then do consider checking out the links in the description below. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be it. I'm Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later. Say bye, Freddy. Bye. Bye.